Alright, first things first, let's go to the Minecraft folder and go to our actual Minecraft folder. We're going to click into versions, go to 113. We're going to open the archive for 1.13 jar. And this is where we are going to get the default assets for Minecraft. So we'll go back out to assets. And in here, we're going to click into assets and drag and drop it out and just extract everything. If you notice, it's actually taking out all the models.json, oak saplings, experience, spawner, literally everything it could possibly take. It's going to pop out. And we'll get that done. Next thing is we're going to click into indexes, go to 113.json, open this up. Then we're going to hit Control F and look for sounds.json. All right, the hash is the E6. So we're going to click back out, go into objects, go to where E6 is in the assets, and the last two are 2F. So 2F. We're going to open with Sublime Text, and boom, there's the sound JSONs. We're going to save as, go back out to Assets, Minecraft, and right here we'll save it as sounds.json. Now we've just rebuilt the whole vanilla file of the resource pack. So this is how we're going to make our own resource pack and kind of get an understanding of how Minecraft sets up their own resource pack. So we'll take this to view, go to extra large icons, medium icons, yeah. These aren't too bad. There's a lot of them. Oh my god. Click on a shulker box. Now I've installed a few programs. I think it's important to know this. I use Adobe Photoshop CC. You can use Paint.net, Krita, GIMP, or Aesprite. These two are paid. These three are free. You can find anything that you're comfortable with, but we'll start with Paint.net. Open this up and see if we can just drag and drop this in. Open the image file. Cool. Hit Control +++++ to open. Nice. It's pretty basic. We'll switch to the pencil tool. And we can just change up the texture this way. So that's how, that is a comparator, and then there's a comparator on. There's a conduit, crackstone bricks. First texture we actually need to change is stone. So we're going to open up a second thing. Go to not a tutorial, resource packs, nat, assets, and this is where we start following what Minecraft is doing. They are inside the Minecraft folder. We'll take textures, create that folder, and then create a block folder. Now in the block folder, we will make a new texture called stone. So let's go to paint.net. And we don't like this one. We're going to get out of this one if we can figure out how to do that. We'll close and don't save the image. Create a new image. We're going to get 16 by 16. We're going to make the resolution 72. Now we're going to zoom in and we'll choose a color that we like. It can be pretty difficult to choose colors. So what we're going to do is choose color palette generator. The super fast, cool color. Let's do pixel art. Pixel art color palette. Cool. Palette generator for pixel artists. Lerpist. You know, let's go with just low spec. This looks like it should be fine. Taffy looks pretty cool. Check out the Taffy pack. And for our stone texture, we'll go with this one, 356456. So maybe we can double click this, click more. Yeah, we'll click the hex value. Use the paint bucket. That seems pretty good. Press H for the hand, get it back to the middle. Go back here. So now that we have this, we can start ramping it in and out. Now what you can do it by dragging here in the color, but we want something a little more simple. So we're actually going to take down the saturation and just kind of mess around a little bit. That seems probably pretty good. And we'll bring up the saturation just a little, see if we can make this less gray. And then we'll take up the value just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So for color theory, I am still learning. But what I like to do is very basic. I'll start with a base color, and then I'll mess with the saturation and value. So if I want to make the value a bit higher, I'll probably either bring in the saturation, but more likely I'll take the saturation down. I like to start with a low saturation, then let's see, let's do a color dropper. This is K. We'll choose K and then press P for pencil. And we'll get something like that going. So this looks like a pretty bad texture, but we're gonna roll with it anyways. Save as. It's already at PNG. Open up our window for the NAT resource, copy the address, bring it over. We're gonna call it stone.png. And we're gonna auto detect, leave it alone, and go with that. So now we'll open up lab. Now it should load in the texture pack automatically and refresh it as soon as we join the world, but we may have to do it ourselves. So we'll see. Stone.png is still the name of the texture, and it is. And oh my, that's it's not a great texture. It's not very good, but we can work with it. All right. So what is going wrong with this texture? Well, first thing to know about the stone texture is that it randomizes back and forth at will, basically. So you got two of these patterns, and they were mirroring on each other, and then those two are mirroring on each other. So we want to make that as invisible as possible, and what that means is kind of just messing with the texture so the noise kind of goes away. So let's take down the saturation a little bit here and turn up the value. Amp it up just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So we're starting with this really kind of base looking color. That's it's great, but it's also a little difficult to work with. Can we make this bigger? Can you tell this is the first time I use it? We'll take down the opacity. Here's what we'll do. We'll press K. Choose that, press P to go back. And we're going to take down the opacity value of this. So now we can kind of just, we'll take it down even more, maybe to, let's say 439. We can add a lot of noise to our texture without having to worry about messing it up too much, because we're still painting within the same color. Alright, and then we'll press K to choose a lighter color, P, take that down again because it reset itself, and we'll just lighten up some of the darker areas. We still want the base color there. We just want to get rid of the rest of the texture value. Go K, back to P. Yeah, there we go. So we'll save that again. We're going to hold down F3 and Q to see reload texture packs, F3 and T. See how that looks. It's a little busy now. It's a little busy, and now you can see the edges. So what we would do for that is, let's say, duplicate layer, duplicate layer, duplicate layer. So if we're in paint.net, we'll click all these off, and we're going to select M for move selected pixels. So we're going to move this to the quarter, click on the next layer, move this one to the quarter. So we're click off the top layer. See what I'm doing here? And then click off this one. Look at this one. And we're gonna press Control D for deselect because it seemed like we might have messed that up a little bit. Yeah, do it like that. Control D on that, and then move this one up too. So now when we click them all back on, we get a little bit better understanding. And we didn't do it right. It wasn't, we totally didn't do this right. But we did it okay. So now we're going to select some of this and try to blend over the straight lines that we're seeing. So maybe we'll do a lighter one. Take the opacity up. Oh, let's merge all the layers. Can we merge them down? Property, move layer down. And merge layer down is Control M. So we'll merge them all back into the same layer. If it looks confusing, I'm a little confused too. So we're going to get rid of some of this. And we're going to bring back the darker color that we've been working with this whole time. And the point is to make it look less busy. So we're going to clean it up a lot. And we're thinking about what it is to wrap stuff around. So you notice I cleared out a lot, but now I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. Anything that I think is 2, I'm going to start expanding it out 3 or 4 pixels across. Now this is kind of like the cheater's way of doing things. You get someone like Japa looking at this tutorial. It's not a tutorial. Looking at something like this, he's probably going to keel over. But this is how we're going to fake it a little bit. We'll save it, go back into the game, F3 and T, and see what it looks like. That's slightly better. But now you're seeing, if you're like me, you're seeing how bright it is on one side. And if we take that down, it's over here. Now if we take that down, we'll take it down with the opacity. Then our texture is going to look great. But we're still seeing like a little bit. Yeah, we don't want any standout pixels. We want the pixels to feel like they repeat properly. If we do this, yeah, it's not perfect. We could still do some work on it, but it's a good start. I'll take something like this, maybe bring this up a little bit, get a little noise back in there. The point is to break up what the patterns may look like. So when you look at the whole surface feels like it's one thing. So that's a good start to that texture. All right, let's take a look at the snow. Now let's go look at the folder. We're going to type snow, and we see snow is just called snow.png. Perfect. So we'll save this, get out of here, minimize, minimize. We're going to keep this up. And there's a lot of color palette things. We're going to use Krita next. Ooh-wee. This is another one of the free programs. I've had great experiences with this one, but I found it to be a little intensive for my computer, or at least the computer I was using it on at the time. We're going to create a 16 by 16 texture at 72 pixels per inch. Perfect. So change the brush preset to pixel art, and this is our color wheel. So this is something we can start working with. So you see color selector, advanced color selector, shade selector, minimum. These are all things I have no idea what's going on with. Tool options, overall. Let's see if we can just find the regular color selector. And maybe we can't. Maybe this is just how things are going to be. And big paint 2. Oh wow. Brush preset specific color selector. There we go. This is where we want to start with. So we'll start with the specific color selector. And we use this as this is kind of like our background. But we don't want to go too crazy. We don't want like something with a high value in color. This is what you would call like a high value, well, like the background of the website or the background of the pixel art would be a low value color. So we're looking for more for this red right here, I think. Let's go with that red and put it into the color selector. Boom, that'll give us something nice that we can work with. Now that we have a triangle, this is something I can start working with. So we'll hit G. Is it G? We'll just paint. So we chose in the tool options over here. We did something crazy. So we changed it to big paint 2. In our brush presets, we changed to pixel art. And there's a few pixel art things like dithering we can do. Or a big giant brush. We'll just take the big giant brush and then go back to normal. And in view, we'll turn off the pixel grid because it's a little aggravating. Reduce the size by pressing Control negative. And this is where we can start messing with the pixel value. So the curve should look like kind of a bit like a circle. When you're going for shading, you want it to not go too high of a value, because then you're trying to have something stand out. When you're trying to do shading, if it's a triangle, try to stick in like a little circular motion like this. So we'll start with a higher pixel shade. And for this, maybe we'll do like something a little crazy. Do something like this. When we know this one is another one of the ones that are going to be constantly rotated. So we'll stick everything in the corner. Because if we stick everything in the corner and have like a basic color in the middle, it's going to feel like maybe something crazy is happening with it. Okay, so that's a nice light one. Let's go a little darker. And we'll put a little shadow on everything, and we'll come back and clean this up in a second. And I think that's probably good. All right, so we did a few things wrong here. And if we can use our color dropper, this one's on P, and then we're back to B for the brush. We're just gonna clean up some of these basic lines that we're double up on and are made to make us feel a little bad about it. So we don't want the double line look. And then we'll hit K again, go to P. That seems good. We're just selecting the same colors here, so we'll start with this. We're gonna, if we hit Control S, we can save, but we can also export it. We can export it as a lot of things. Let's see what happens when we save. Go to Resource Packs, Nat, Assets, Minecraft, Textures, Block. And we're gonna save it as a PNG. I'm gonna call this one Snow. Saving as a PNG will lose the PNG resources. Cool. So force convert to smart RGB. We'll just leave all these the same because we don't know what they do. Hit F3 and F. All right, we have something a little weird looking. Notice things are not rotating the way that we thought they would. And that's good to know. So that we know this is not rotating, but for the player's purposes, let's just hit play here. We want the player to know that they can break everything, and it doesn't feel that way right now. So maybe we'll do something a little different. Hit P again, go back to B, and we'll keep it simple. We know what this means. Hit P again, K. get P and K. And we'll make the rest of this feel a little like a box. I actually like a triangle. We'll go for a triangle with this one. So we'll grab our dithering brush. We'll use the brackets to make it look small. Hit P to select a better color. Back to B. Yeah, there it is. So hit that. Swap to P again. Make the outside, and then P. Get the inside, making it feel good. Go back to the other one. This is where we'll start filling in some of it. And the point is to add the dithering is to give it an intentional pixel art look. We're not going for realism on this one. We want it to feel a little fake and a little intentionally messed up. This one's going to feel super messed up on the first pass. Very likely. If we can click right. There. So we saved that, bring it back in. That has an interesting look to it. I like that a lot. Alright, it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. So we'll click into here. We want it to feel maybe a bit like a window. Or like, you know how some of those wool blocks that we see in the game and some texture packs have a certain kind of break to them? We can flip this back in and get some more of this dithering back in. We want this to feel a bit more like, how do you say this? We'll mess up the dithering there. Yeah. We want this to feel like it's fabricated and a bit ragged at the time. Let's see if we can save it again. I don't know what happened there. Click. Yeah. I like that. That's good, that's good, that's good. So we won the game. Let's try it again. And these... Yeah, this is feeling already massively different than when we first started working on the project. It feels like a game that should be broken. So the next thing we need to do is make the shovel look a bit different, and then the snowball after this. Lava's a whole other type of problem that we need to deal with, because it's an animated texture. Okay. So first things first. Shovel. What should the shovel look like? Given how this is, I'm thinking like maybe it should be like a fire shovel, or maybe something not too difficult. We'll get out of here. And we'll hold on to this for a sec. Then we're going to open up GIMP. Let's see if we can actually bring this over. Hello, GNU image manipulation program. I'm liking the wool texture, the snow texture, more and more. It's not perfect. No, it's not perfect, but it's a good start. Stone texture, I think, could use a bit more work, but it's not killing me anymore. You can see some patterns in it, and that's the kind of thing that takes practice and takes a lot more care and attention than I'm going to take in this episode. So we're going to go new, 16 by 16. We do not want 300 dpi. So we'll go to 72, 72. That's perfect. And how do we zoom in? Zoom is just plus and minus. Cool, plus and minus on the numpad. For this tool, we'll grab the pencil. We want the size to be 1. Perfect, that's what we need. Then when we select the color, we can do the HTML notation. And we're going for the shovel this time, which is also a 16 by 16 deal. Now this is where we can start amping up the values a little bit. We can go with the blue. I think we'll start off with a blue, maybe we'll start with the dark handle. So can we do this? Click OK, perfect. So now we have a blue handle. And we probably need to get rid of the background on this one. So we'll create a new layer, fill it with transparency, get rid of the background layer, and that's probably good. All right. So for shovels, I like to keep it a bit basic. I just like to make a basic shape of the handle. And it's probably good for that. Now we'll make the value a little darker here. And we will line the bottom. And now we're going to grab another color off our palette. Now the thing to understand, or at least I've come to understand about palettes, is they're a good starting point. But the shading and coloring, they don't give you everything you need. In order to get everything you need, you kind of just need to do it yourself. So let's do our shovel like this. Start off with the basic shape, and you're never going to get this right the first time. This is something that's constantly practiced, and then we will hit E for eraser, I hope. I'm going to look at all the tools and just see what the tools do. So it's all about cage transform, warp transform, bucket, paintbrush. Shift and E is eraser. And the brush 2 is hardness. Dynamics are off. Hardness is where we need to go. We need to go up to 100% for hardness. And we need to turn off spacing entirely, so it doesn't give us any of those weird transparent edges. It still is. I think that's probably good like that. All right, so it looks a little bit like a wand, but we can fix that. Go back to, which one's pencil? N. N is pencil in this program. Now we will choose a bit more of a way darker. So our color was way up here. Let's click the eyedropper. See how far the color was up there? So we'll bring it down so it's more like that. And we'll choose the shovel, and we're going to outline the whole shovel. And then maybe put a little line up in the middle. I really don't like that pink. So maybe we'll make it a little darker. For this kind of color layout, you want to use a nice curve like this. It should come in about an ellipsis. So as you go to left, start going way down. It should always feel a bit like that. So we'll start with a darker color with more value. I usually like to start with a high value and low saturation. Something like that. I really don't know what I'm talking about for this though, so don't even bother listening to me. There we go. It's fine. It looks fine. So we'll save this one. Oh wow, this one's a whole other different thing. Maybe we'll try exporting. So we'll export it. And we don't even know where it is anymore. We're going to click that and save in folder limo Minecraft profiles, resource packs, nat assets, Minecraft textures, and this is where we need to figure out what's what. So in the Minecraft folder, everything should be in items. So we have a shovel. We gave them a diamond shovel. Yep, that's what it's going to be called. So it's in the folder called item. Item. And we're going to call it diamond shovel.png. Export it. We'll just leave all that the same. And then we will hit F3 and T. So now the textures have reloaded. Hit yes. And we have a weird looking shovel thing. Maybe I'll refine this more off camera. But I think that's a fairly good start for what how you get going with textures. For me, it's always been one at a time. I retexture things as I need them. I kind of dig how those look. Maybe I'll amp it up to 32 by 32. It's such a weird looking texture. Yeah, see how the transparency is really messing it up? But it doesn't look, it just looks strange. We need to get rid of it. So why is the brush being hard when we've already turned up the hardness? If a hard edge. Try saving this. We'll export it again. Export to diamond shovel. Looks like it did it. Actually loaded a bar at the bottom. That's interesting. There we go. A bit harder of an edge. We can see more of what's going on. Now, it's not a perfect shovel. That's a good start. Now we'll take the snowball. And we're going to deal with the lava maybe after that. The lava's the hard part. Our goal here is to retexture every block and item that we're using currently. So snowballs are fairly easy. We'll discard that. We'll just leave it. Test to see if our death mechanic still works. Totally still works. Minimize. Minimize. And we'll finally get to Aesprite. I think Aesprite's a pretty interesting, way different kind of file. So we'll do another 16 by 16 RGB, transparent. We're just going to click OK. And this one's a control plus, hit H, just hold H. And we're going to change this using the scroll wheel down to 1 pixel. Now we'll grab a new thing. Since this was the color of the block, we'll make this the color of the item. So if it breaks apart into something brighter. Click the foreground color, hit paste, enter. Doesn't know what that is. Add a foreground color to the palette. Interesting. Now we're going to do something called Pixel Perfect. And if we click on Pixel Perfect, it actually we'll see how the lines are a bit better. If we click it off, we just draw the line however we want to draw it. So we'll click on horizontal and vertical symmetry, click on Pixel Perfect. And we're just going to kind of draw a basic snowball. Hit E, delete that. That looks pretty good actually. Now we have another square palette. So this is going to be easy to draw in. See how easy Aesprite is? Aesprite's really good. And we'll get maybe something a little brighter. Turn off symmetry now. And I'm hitting Alt for the color dropper, which is way easier than I've seen it in the other programs. And we'll just get rid of these additional things. I think that's probably good. Hit save. Figure out where we are. Go to Lemo. Specifically though, Minecraft profiles, not a tutorial. Resource packs, not a tutorial. Assets, Minecraft. Textures, item. We'll call this one snowball.png. We gotta make sure it's saved that way because some programs won't let you save. Yeah, snowball.png. Reload the texture pack. Type in snowball. And that's pretty good, though not perfect. So what we'll do now is we will take this and we're gonna take down the mask of it. Same way that we did in the other program. But we're just gonna add a little bit of texture to this. And we're gonna do this in circular motions. We can even do it with this if we wanted to. Yeah, there we go. And maybe make the work here just a little bit better. I'm gonna take the mask all the way down every time. There we go. And take the mask down. Just needs to feel a bit more symmetrical without being too bad. Hit E, make sure we any of the additional things are not there. Yeah, that's good. Save again. It saved automatically this time. And now we gave the snowball a little bit of texture. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. See how that feels. Cool. The snowballs don't exactly look exactly like the rest of the pack, but that's fine. So that's how we make the snowball. Let's go for one more texture here. And it's the hardest one, of course. We'll go back out to blocks and type in lava. Now there's lava still and lava flow. We're just going to work with lava still. We're going to close out of Aesprite. Minimize everything. And open up Photoshop. Move these items. Yeah, there we go. Now Photoshop's my favorite program to use things with. So this is how we're going to work with the most basic thing. And this is the first time we're actually going to copy something into here. We don't need to, but I'm going to explain why. This is a 16 by 16. We show the ruler. It's a 16 by 16 area. And we need to know that because we're going to animate this and we're going to reduce it to a few frames. I think it is 16 by 16. We'll just check the, let's go to Edit, Preferences, Units, Grids, and Slices. Units and rulers. So we want to view everything in pixels and type in points. 16 by 16 pixels. So we're going to animate 5 frames of this. And the 5 frames are going to be slightly different from each other. So we'll close out of this. New 16 by 16 32, 64. Let's just say 4 frames, make it even. So it's going to be first frame, second frame, third frame, and fourth frame. We're going to go with a, oh, you know what? Let's make it green. Let's make it nasty looking green. Go over here, boop. Cool. So now we'll press B for the pixel art. Make sure the size is 1. Turn up the hardness to that many. And we are going to split this at 16 pixels using the ruler. We press Control R to turn that on. 32. And 32 plus 16 is 48. Boom. So we're gonna kind of just mess around with it. Then we're gonna turn down the opacity. Same thing we did last time, but this time we're gonna amp up our size. And just make it feel a little messed up. Now here's the fun part. Copy this into its own layer. We're gonna offset it. We're gonna offset it by 8 by 8. And if that didn't make sense, I totally understand. But by doing this, we can copy it over and just see how it feels. So we'll copy it down. I'm holding Alt to copy and paste. Merge them back together. Press Control and semicolon to turn things off. And it's fine. And now we're gonna kind of mutate it a bit more. Choose a brighter color, mutate it a bit more. Choose a different color and mutate it a bit more. And we know it's a grid. We know it's a problem, so we're gonna offset the whole thing this time and just kind of fix out those errors. So it is gonna feel super messed up, but that's okay. We just want it to not feel too much like a square. Cool. So now we'll Control Shift Alt and E to export. Do it again. S. Control Shift Alt and S. PNG 24 looks fine. We'll hit Libraries, Minecraft, not a tutorial, Resource Packs, Nat, Assets, Minecraft, Textures, Block, and Lava Still.png. For this one, we're still not done. We gotta copy the MC meta over into Block. Delete this temporary ping file. That's strange. And we'll open this with code instead of Visual Studio this time. And there's a lot of frames for this. And I think we're just going to copy out, we're going to take care of all of this. So it's going to be 0, which is frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's just going to loop on itself. So now that we've copied it down to 4 frames, because it is 4 frames, see how that looks. F3 and T. And it's probably going to look like a really fast disaster. So then we can change the frame time to 7. 7 ticks, which is going to make it look slower. It's fine. So now we've successfully changed a bunch of the textures. We can see how the game plays and feels. One thing I wish we could do is change the skybox. Kind of did a reverse where red is good, green is bad on this map. Probably created like a rage texture pack for some people. It's not so bad. So we can definitely see the, when we go down here and look at this one, we can see the square and the repeating in the texture, and that's one thing you want to actively fight against. It's a bit more difficult on animated textures because you really have to consider every single frame. But for single textures, it's not really a problem. Alright. So I think that's it for this one. Next time, I think we will get into